It's time now for This Week in Rock and Roll History, brought to you by Tom Tabak and the Daddy-O's. Take a moment to stroll with us down memory lane to the good old days, those rock and roll gold days.
Hi everybody, Tom Tabak here. Happy to be your tour guide going back to the good old days of soda shops and sock hots in the gym. Let's start with This Week in 1955. For the first time, sales of 45 RPM records outsell 78 RPM records. This week in 1956, Elvis Presley enters the Billboard Pop Chart for the first time with Heartbreak Hotel at number 68. Of course, we now know it took only 2 weeks to hit number 1 and become Elvis's first of over 60 gold record singles. Sounds like a lot, doesn't it? But how many of you know that Elvis actually had 74 gold albums? As we move into This Week in 1958, we find Get a Job by the Silhouettes sitting at number 1 after Dick Clark starts playing it on American Bandstand. And yes, the group did take their name from the 1957 song by the Rays, which was also covered by Herman's Hermits in the 60s. This week in 1960, Jimi Hendrix makes his stage debut playing at a Seattle high school. 1961, after being discharged from the Army a little over a year ago, Elvis makes his first concert appearance since 1958 at the Ellis Auditorium in Memphis, Tennessee. During the show, RCA Records presents the King with a plaque commemorating 76 million records sold worldwide. So how many records has Elvis sold to date? Would you believe well over 1 billion with a B? Yes, 1 billion. Which, by the way, is several hundred million more than the runners-up, the Beatles, at 600 million plus. And while we're talking Elvis, this week in 1962, he has his 10th chart topper with Can't Help Falling in Love. 3 milestone releases this week in 1963. Our Day'll Come by Ruby and the Romantics, which will hit number 1 in March. He's So Fine by the Shavans, which will hit number 1 by the end of March. And the first Beatles single is released in the U.S. by VJ Records. Please Please Me. Although their name is misspelled on the label. Try Beatles with 2 T's. Yeah, now there's a collector's item. Jumping to 1964, a New York band called The Echoes recruits a young piano player named Billy Joel. His breakthrough wouldn't come for another 9 years. Also this week in 1964, the Beatles appeared on The Ed Sullivan Show for the 3rd consecutive week. 1965, Gary Lewis and the Playboys topped the charts with This Diamond Ring. The label recognized the potential in the song, but weren't crazy with the sound. So they overdubbed Gary's voice to make it acceptable and brought in session musicians. When it came time to perform live on The Ed Sullivan Show, they faked it. Finally, this week in 1966, Nancy Sinatra gets her first gold record for her current number 1 hit, These Boots Are Made for Walking. Did I say her first gold record? Yes. She actually had another one that was also number 1 in 1966 called Something Stupid. No further comment.
If this is your kind of music, you'll love our 50s and 60s Graffiti Gold Show with Tom Tabak and the Daddy-O's, a 90-minute blast from the past. For booking information, show dates, locations, and tickets, visit GraffitiGoldShow.com. That's GraffitiGoldShow.com. Be there or be square, GraffitiGoldShow.com.